Let's talk about a classic, and honestly, a pretty brutal market lesson. Sometimes it doesn't matter how well a company is doing. When geopolitics heat up, all that good news can get completely wiped out. We're going to break down how a geopolitical firestorm is sweeping through the European stock markets right now.
And it all starts right here. This image from Tehran. This is the spark. As the conflict in the Middle East gets more intense, you can feel the shockwaves thousands of miles away, hitting global investors right where it hurts. This isn't just a regional problem anymore. It's a full-blown global market event.
So what's the immediate effect? Well, it's kicked off what traders call a risk-off mood. And that's exactly what it sounds like. It's a massive retreat. Everyone running for the exits, trying to get away from anything that looks even slightly risky. And this guy's face, that pretty much says it all. This is what that risk-off mood looks like. Investors are dumping stocks and scrambling for things they see as safe, like gold. And it's not just happening in one place. It's a synchronized sell-off around the world, from Asia to the US, and as we're about to see, especially in Europe.
Okay, so let's zero in on Europe, because it's been hit particularly hard. We're talking about a sea of red right across the continent's exchanges. It feels like absolutely no sector has been able to find a safe place to hide. I mean, just look at these numbers. The big one, the Pan-European Stoxx 600, is down more than 3%. But then you look at the individual countries. Germany's DAX down 3.8%. Italy's FTSE MIB is getting hammered, down over 4.3%. And Spain's IBEX 35 is leading the charge downwards with a staggering drop of almost 4.8%. This is a really deep and painful sell-off.
So who's getting hit the hardest? Well, this chart really shows us what the market is most afraid of. The entire financial sector, we're talking banking and insurance, is leading the losses, both down more than 4%. That tells you there's a deep, deep worry about financial stability. Even utilities, which are usually a pretty safe bet, are down big time. And this is what really tells you how deep the fear is. You'd think that with a conflict escalating, defense stocks would be soaring, right? I mean, it makes sense. Well, wrong. The fear of a wider economic collapse is so great that even the companies that make the weapons are seeing their stocks fall. When defense stocks are dropping during a war, you know the market sentiment is just absolutely terrible.
All right, so we've seen the big picture. Now let's zoom in a bit. Get down to the nitty-gritty. We're going to look at how two very different companies, with two very different pieces of news, are trying to survive this storm. This is where that high-level geopolitics stuff smacks right into the corporate bottom line.
So first up, we've got Thales, a huge player in the aerospace and defense world. Now, on any other day, the earnings report they just put out would have had champagne corks popping. And wow, this slide just lays out the massive disconnect. On the left, you have these incredible results. Record-breaking orders, sales that beat all expectations, profits are up. I mean, this is a company that is absolutely firing on all cylinders. But then, you look over to the right, the market's reaction? The stock is down. Why? It's simple, really. In a market this scared, good news just doesn't matter. The big, scary geopolitical picture completely drowned out the company's fantastic performance.
Okay, so if that's what happens to good news, what do you think happens to bad news? For that, let's turn to our second company, the British investment manager Aberdeen. Now, they were already dealing with a few internal challenges even before this whole crisis blew up.
So the company announced it had to push back the recovery of one of its key business units all the way to 2027. And on top of that, its new growth forecast came in way below what analysts were hoping for. So yeah, this is disappointing news on any normal day. But in this market, the punishment was absolutely brutal. Aberdeen stock got crushed, plunging over 8%. In a fearful market like this, bad news isn't just bad, it's catastrophic. There is zero room for disappointment, and the stock just got hammered.
So, let's step back and pull all this together. What are the biggest risks we really need to keep our eyes on moving forward? Here's a quick summary of the key takeaways from all this.
The number one economic threat, it really all comes down to this single waterway, the Strait of Hormuz. You've got to think of it as the jugular vein for the world's oil supply. Any threat to shut it down sends immediate shockwaves through the energy markets.
And that leads us straight to something called inflationary risk. What does that mean for you? Well, when the flow of oil is threatened, prices at the pump shoot up. But it doesn't stop there. It means the cost to make and ship pretty much everything else goes up too, which just fuels inflation across the entire economy.
And this is all happening at a really delicate time. You see, inflation in the Eurozone was already at 1.9%, which is right up against the European Central Bank's 2% target. An oil price shock right now could force them to make some very tough choices, like raising interest rates even as the economy is getting weaker.
So let's do a quick recap of the key takeaways. First, the main danger is that inflationary oil risk coming from the Strait of Hormuz. You got to keep a close eye on energy prices. And second, that massive sell-off we saw in insurance stocks, that's a huge red flag. It shows that investors are extremely worried about just how exposed the sector is to the massive, unpredictable risks that come with this conflict.
And all of this really leaves us with one big looming question. In a world where great news gets punished and even the traditionally safe bets are falling, where on earth can an investor find a safe harbor? It's a question with no easy answers, and it just shows you how challenging it is to navigate the markets when things get this uncertain.